Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the City of Farmers Branch regular City Council meeting. It is Tuesday, December 7th, 2021. The time is 6:01 p.m. As many of you know or may not know, today is D-Day, a date which was once said will live in infamy. It's a reminder of our freedoms. It's a reminder of those who have served this country, who have died for this country, and who continue to serve this great country. As such, I want to thank each and every person who has been a part of our armed forces, and also extend that to our first responders as well. We're forever grateful for their courage, their valor, and their sacrifice. And as such, in honor of tonight and it being D-Day, we have with us the Farmers Branch Police Honor Guard, who is going to post our colors, and then we'll do the invocation and then the pledges. So, please, our Farmers Branch Police Honor Guard. Now for this evening's invocation. Dear Lord, we ask your blessing this evening as we gather to serve our city. Please watch over all of the men and women who have served our armed forces, and for our first responders as well. Guide them as they serve and protect each and every single member of our community and for all communities. Help us to act with character and conviction. Help us to listen with understanding and goodwill. And help us to speak with charity and restraint. Remind us that we are stewards of your authority. Guide us to be leaders your people need. Help us see the humanity and dignity of those who we disagree with, and to treat all persons, no matter how weak or poor, with the reverence your creation deserves. Bless tonight's meeting and our community as a whole. In Jesus' name, amen. And now for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Now the Texas Pledge. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible. Next is our ceremonial items, and tonight we're going to call a quick audible. This one isn't posted to the agenda because we got late breaking news that two young members of our community were chosen to decorate and have an ornament that represents not only the city of Farmers Branch, but Carrollton, Addison, Coppell as well, down in the Capitol. Johnson was able to post that on the tree. So with that, I'm going to read a proclamation. Whereas each year, Texas House members select a constituent, create a Christmas ornament depicting what makes their Texas House district so special. And whereas this year's Farmers Branch residents, Janie Stark Elementary students, Megan Wilhite and Lori Wilhite, chosen for this special designation with their ornament featured a depiction of Grapevine's Polar Express train, Janie Stark Elementary, and a tree which represents our city in a park in Farmers Branch noted Christmas events. And whereas State Representative Julie Johnson made a personal appearance at Janie Stark Elementary to pick up the winning ornament. And whereas the ornament will be displayed on the Christmas tree at the state capitol from December 1st, 2021 through January 3rd, 2022 for thousands of Texans and Capitol visitors to enjoy this holiday season. So I'll ask Megan and Lori to come as well. More than welcome. But now, therefore, I, Robert C. Dow, Mayor of the City of Farmers Branch, hereby recognize Megan and Lori Roy as the 2021 winners of the House of Representatives Christmas Ornament and Decorating Contest. Congratulations, and thanks for helping us bring in this holiday season with goodwill and cheer. Next is E1. Present the TRAPS North Region Awards to the Parks and Recreation Department. Just come on up. We know that they like to spread these out throughout the year. The Texas Recreation and Park Society TRAPS North Region annually recognizes the best in class for a variety of categories. The Farmers Branch Parks and Recreation Department received 3 of 7 total awards given out in the 2021 calendar year. The awards received are as follows. Recreation Facility Design Excellence Award. The purpose of this award is to recognize a recreation facility project which displays a high degree of professional design quality and recreational usage, and to encourage and expand the cooperation between design professionals and parks and recreation professionals. For several years, community feedback consistently echoed the need for change relative to the facility's functionality and amenities. In particular, the fitness area equipments needed upgrading and the children care area needed an expansion. Due to the recent population surge at Farmers Branch, it was imperative that the Farmers Branch Community Recreation Center grow with the needs of the community. A comprehensive study of the facility usage during operating hours was performed. It was determined that one basketball gym, the teen room, and the snack game room were habitually underutilized. Staff determined that the highest and best use for the basketball gym would be converted into a state-of-the-art fitness space. Additionally, the child care area could be expanded by removing the walls between the existing child care and snack game rooms to create a child care space over twice the current size. The vacant teen room was transformed into a multi-purpose space that is now used for group exercise classes, facility rentals, and is home to the teen leadership program in the summer months. These adjustments yielded an additional 11,100 square feet of fitness space and 600 additional square feet of child care space that has since helped the membership base grow by nearly 50% in just 6 short months. We also have Part-Time Employee of the Year. This award recognizes exceptional part-time or seasonal employee in either parks or recreation. Adriana Sands is the winner of this award and has been part of the Farmers Branch Community Recreation Center since 2016. Adriana began as a youth program leader with the Teen Leadership Program and has continued to prove her worth to our organization by recently earning a promotion to full-time recreation specialist. Prior to her promotion, Adriana supervised the Teen Leadership Program at a remote location due to COVID-19 and facility renovations. She ensured that the program ran smoothly and played a vital role in keeping COVID-19 protocols in place to ensure the safety of the participants. I'm just going to stop there real quick. I do want to thank you for not only your leadership within the Parks and Recreation Department, but what you're doing for our teens and our youth. I mean, look at the conversation we had today in our study session and how important it is to pay attention to our teens and how can we provide activities and outlets for them after school and during hours where they might not have downtime. And we need them to not only socialize, but have places to go to where they can find community, can grow, and program is a shining example of that. And we're so thankful that you're now a full-time member of this team. And with this, we should probably be getting you a 5-year thing as well. But I do want to say thank you for that, for your leadership, and we should all give her a round of applause. And then next is Excellence in Programming Award Senior Program. This award recognizes an outstanding, ongoing senior program that has been offered for 2 or more years. Fish and Fun has been an intergenerational event offered by the City of Farmers Branch for the past 22 years and provides an opportunity for our community to engage in fishing and outdoor fun. The unique aspect of this event is that the seniors are able to socialize with members of the community and provide training tips on how to fish to the younger generations. This event is planned and coordinated with the Branch Connection staff, volunteers, and the Senior Advisory Board members. Fish and Fun takes place once a year at Gussie Field Waterworth Park. Fishing poles, bait, farm-raised catfish, and bluegill, prizes, kids-owned activities, and an awards ceremony for different age groups are all provided free of charge. While this event focuses on the interaction between youths and seniors, it is heavily coordinated and executed due to the number of our senior volunteers. So I want to ask our members of our senior board, staff, and volunteers who are here as well to come on up. I know this is a huge event. It's something that so many people look forward to, and it's the event that keeps on giving because we dump so many catfish into the creek that there's no way they can catch them all. And we get to watch people line our shores for the rest of the year to hopefully fish them out so that we can restock them next year. But you know, the amount of people that show up to this event, the amount of great publicity, and the amount of people that come into our community to witness how great it is experienced because of this event. It's because of the collaboration and the opportunity to teach one generation to another is definitely something that many should be thankful for, especially as such a wonderful skill, not only defense and peace, but, you know, what do they say? Give a man a fish, he eats for a day. Teach a man to fish, he eats for the rest of his life. And so, just want to say thank you to the Branch Connection, staff, volunteers, and definitely the board for your constant continual coordination of the event. And to get back to the first award, as many of you have probably seen, we've definitely redone our rec center. Phase 1 is complete. Phase 2 will be underway, but the amount of change, the amount of excitement, and just the conversation in our community about this facility and what it's done in terms of fitness and the number of people who use it. It's so hard to even get onto the basketball court now, which we're working to hopefully solve, but that just shows you the number of people that are coming to that facility, the number of people that are coming back to this rec center, and the fact that that has happened in spite of COVID, in spite of the challenges that we face. You see that people do want to get back out and be a part of it and do it the safe way, and you guys have definitely exhibited that. We're appreciative, and before I turn it over to Michael National, on behalf of the residents, on behalf of the City Council, on behalf of other staff members, thank you for what you do for providing us with so many outlets to get out and be part of this community. It's truly beneficial and truly grateful.
Hey everybody, Mike Masterman, Director of Parks and Rec. 3 awards, that's awesome. I'm so proud of the team that we have here. I tell people regularly I have the best job in the world aside from being a professional golfer, just because the people I work with make it easy. I'd like to thank our board members, both past and present, from both Senior Advisory Board and our Parks and Recreation Board. The work that these folks put in, they don't get paid for it, contrary to popular belief. Is amazing, and they help shape what we do, both on the event side and with the facility. And certainly, John Land, Charles Cox, Ben Williamson, City Council, we appreciate your support, the vision that you have to keep pushing us and doing something different. The way we took the rec center was a little bit unique. Typically, we turn it over to an architect, and we just believe what they say. They said, "Hey, reimagine how do we need to use it best?" And we do what we thought, and came out and okay. So, and also, special thanks to the team here, both Maria Minter, Rec Center Manager, Biannual, just Colorado, that worked on this. Fantastic job. And Jeff Harding and Wimberly Phillips were here beforehand. Great job at them as well. And certainly our Senior Advisory Board, you guys are awesome. I love that we do this event every year with them, helping the young people learn. So thank you. Thank you.
As we continue to jump around, we're now going to do E4, which is consider approving resolution number 2021-196, authorizing the city manager to accept a grant from the Emergency Connectivity Fund for mobile hotspots and take appropriate action. Please. The FCC's Emergency Connectivity Fund, the ECF, is a $7.17 billion program that will help schools and libraries provide the tools and services their communities need for remote learning during the COVID-19 emergency period. ECF will help provide relief to millions of students, school staff, and library patrons, and will help close the homework gap for students who currently lack necessary internet access or the devices they need to connect to classrooms. We have further details on the grant we found in the packet. It's a link. Click it to put it up here. But this is an opportunity for Mansfield Library. This grant will allow us to purchase 10 Wi-Fi hotspots and provide data plans for 12 months, which is a huge thing. I know it's been something our council has looked to implement in the past. I know it's something that the library board and our library has pushed for also. So finding this unique way to seek a grant is going to allow us to be a possibility without running out of our budget. It's great. We're thankful for doing that, winning this, and I'm going to allow Denise to speak. But before we do that, I guess this will now be the first time we get to use the new voting system. So we have some hiccups. We're still learning up here. But I will make a motion to approve resolution number 2021-196 to accept the grant from the Emergency Connectivity Fund for mobile hotspots.
Second.
A second by Councilmember Driscoll. Is there any more discussion? I can't see. See none. With that, I will ask each of you to mark your vote. Technical difficulties we were talking about. Passage unanimously. Now you can see how everyone voted.
Awesome. Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Council. So I guess with innovative hotspots, I should have brought a smartphone or a tablet, but I brought it. So I would like to recognize two of my library board members that are here. I have David Solly and Stacy Baker, who are representing all of the members of our library board, both past and present, who have helped us get to this point. So providing portable internet hotspots to our patrons ensures opportunity for families and individuals that otherwise they may not have access to. This is a service that ties in with our library's mission to provide free and equal access to information resources, technologies, educational programs, and community spaces. On behalf of the library staff and the library board, I am so pleased to be able to bring this service to our library. And we cannot make these hotspots, I cannot wait to make these hotspots available to our patrons in the near future, hopefully in the new year. Monies made available through the American Rescue Plan's Emergency Connectivity Fund are intended to, and I quote, help schools and libraries provide the tools and services their communities need for remote learning during the COVID-19 emergency period. ECF will also help provide relief to millions of students, school staff, and library patrons and will help close the homework gap for students who currently lack necessary internet access or the devices they need to connect to their classrooms. And we're seeing this in our schools today. We're seeing this with patrons coming into our library today. Our computers, when they're full, it's because not everybody has access to a cell phone or Wi-Fi service. And so one of the things that are so important is that so many things are available online now, more than ever. We need online access to work, go to school, apply for jobs, make appointments, order stuff, so much stuff. And attend events, just to name a few. This provision of hotspots is to in-person computer use what the online ebook or audiobook is to the material printed book. It's yet another way to take the library on the road. So in closing, I would like to address our council and our mayor with a huge thank you for supporting everything that's going on in our libraries. We couldn't do this without you, and we look forward to ongoing future collaboration in serving the citizens of the city of Farmers Branch. Thank you.
Next is the recognition of Jennifer Stone, 5 years of dedicated service to the city of Farmers Branch. Today we recognize Jennifer Stone for 5 years of dedicated service to the city of Farmers Branch. Jennifer began her career at the city of Farmers Branch as a part-time recreation attendant at the Branch Connection in October of 2014. A few short years later, she was promoted to a full-time recreation programmer in October of 2016. Finally, Jennifer was elevated to her current position of recreation supervisor in March of 2018. Jennifer has always provided a smiling face and a warm welcome to the members of the Branch Connection. Her passion for serving active adults is evident by the ever-increasing list of fun, innovative programs continually being introduced to the Branch Connection. In her short tenure as recreation supervisor, Jennifer has had several notable accomplishments that include 2020 and 2021 North Region TRAPS Award for Excellence in Programming, assisting in implementing a membership program for the Branch Connection, Recreation Program Software Administrator, creation of rental policies and procedures, and standard operating procedures for the Branch Connection, assisted in the post-COVID reopening of the Branch Connection. Throughout the closure of the Branch Connection and after reopening, Jennifer has been a staple for the active adult community by ensuring continued engagement and creating a multitude of ways for them to stay involved over the course of the pandemic. And I can say firsthand the number of events that I've attended at the Branch Connection, the number of times I've just visited the facility, either A, to check in, just to see what's going on, or to find ways that we could collaborate to hopefully provide better programming opportunities. Jennifer has always been there. One of the brightest faces you see when you walk in the door, makes it feel such a warm and inviting place. But the fact that so many board members and fellow patrons of the Branch Connection here are testament to the impact you've had on them, the impact you've had on our active adult community, and Farmers Branch is definitely a better place for us. And we're so grateful to have you on our staff. And I know you said you wanted to say a few words. No? Unless you said but, you know, before we congratulate Jennifer on her 5 years of service, I would love for Jackie to say a few words as well.
So I don't know how many people have had the chance to work with or interact with Jennifer, but I know working with her over the past 2 years, especially through COVID, what Jennifer does for our members in our community at the Branch Connection goes without doubt, but it shows her selflessness, her thoughtfulness, her her level of support to customer service aspect, and without the branch connection, without what Jennifer does for us, I think it'd be complicated for us to survive. And I know that I appreciate everything that you do for us, and I know our board members appreciate everything. And I just wanted to say thank you for being who you are, and bringing that passion and enthusiasm to every day to work. And we definitely appreciate it, and we look forward to many more years to come.
And recognizing and congratulating Jennifer on 5 years. Lastly, E3, recognition of Allison Cook for 10 years dedicated service to the City of Farmers Branch. Bring the matching tag for a scarf. Today we recognize Allison Cook for 10 years of dedicated service to the City of Farmers Branch. Allison began her career with the City of Farmers Branch in December of 2011 as the Retention, Expansion, and Development Coordinator. 2 years later, she was promoted to Economic Development Manager, and in 2016, Allison was named Director of Economic Development. In October of 2021, she was once again elevated into her current position, Director of Economic Development and Planning. Allison continues to shine as a leader in the economic development industry, regularly serving as a panelist for a variety of organizations and topics. Allison's familiarity with our existing corporate community was on full display during the pandemic, with some 1,000 companies contacted, business assistance loans researched and secured, and unveiling the most creative and impactful CARES grant package in the Metroplex. Her continued efforts and team engagement are admirable. Recent highlights include relocating Tenet Healthcare and Trinity Industries into International Plaza. Might as well add to that list. The lease is consuming in excess of over 500,000 square feet. The opening of the restaurant park, listing 100 demo rebuild incentive agreements, and continuing to acquire targeted residential properties. All this while having an aversion to clowns. Allison has established herself as a leader amongst leaders in this organization. She is trusted, well-liked, and innovative, and Farmers Branch has benefited by her presence. And some of that is on display tonight. It is on our consent agenda. We're approving another 5 demo rebuilds. Your leadership, your vision, and the way that you interact with our community to create new opportunities, to enhance economic development, to build new spaces where we can gather as a community, in the way that you've been able to reach out with our business community, working through our chambers. We have some partners here tonight. Is just been a true benefit and blessing to our community, because without that, we wouldn't have experienced the growth and the opportunities that we have experienced in these last 10 years. And so we're thankful for your leadership, all that you've done. And I guess it doesn't hurt that you're also a testimony. So we talk about it very warmly. But I'm going to let John land. We're gonna let John say a few words.
Well, when Allison first started 10 years ago, she was, how would you say, timid. And over those 10 years, we have really seen her come out of it.
I was always timid. I guess it was because I may have been ashamed of who I am or what I was. I thought I'm just a snail, a lot of shell, a little goo. But all of that has changed, is now the fault of
I'm Coming Out of My Shell from A Year with Frog and Toad. The Firehouse Theater will be presenting A Year with Frog and Toad this spring as part of their Firehouse Junior Education Program, of which Reese is a student. And make sure to catch the Firehouse Theater's production of Elf the Musical. It's playing Wednesday through Sunday with performances taking place at the Sound of Cypress Waters. You can visit firehousetheater.com to learn more about Elf and their exciting slate of shows for 2022. And have a warm round of applause. I have nothing to add.
Now that I've come out of my shell, I have a lot to say. So, December 21, I walked through the door, and I honestly thought I'd be here a year or two. I learned a little bit on city work, and never worked in a city. And I really fell in love with the work. And I consider people that work here my friends. So we went from colleagues, work colleagues, or my coworker, to friends. And I see you all around the room. And I see Stephanie Long back. I see Amy Miller, Trupason. They see me every day and keep me organized and keep work fun. But it takes all of us working together. And this council and past councils, I just want to thank you all. It's been a delight to work with you too, Pete. And you're the whole time.
Especially today.
Especially today. D-Day. And thank you, John, for giving me the opportunity. He put me in a really difficult situation in an apprentice-style interview. I'm sure you remember, but it was unique and different. And also, I'd just like to, Mike Master was here. He said he had the best job, and I know we're both two competitive people, so I feel like I have the best job here because I get to work with you guys, and I get to do stuff that really makes a difference in the community. So, thank you, John. And you won tonight, so we're always one up each other. And see you again tonight, and we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I've seen your other side. Pretty trash. So next is our report on study session items. Under A1, Councilmember Lynn just wanted to understand when the project for J3 was going to begin and if people were notified, and that project will begin tonight after we hopefully approve it during our consent agenda, and people will be notified once those contracts are signed that work will be commencing almost, well, as quickly as possible. A2, we discussed the redistricting commission and the appointment process. What that's going to look like is each council member is going to pick 2 people plus an alternate from their district that will serve on behalf of the council as we go through and look to see how we're going to redistrict our city based on the population changes and growth that we've experienced lately. The mayor will select the chair. That commission will run from January through May. Our recommendations will be in by the 15th of this month, and we will certify that commission hopefully at the first meeting in January so that they can get off to work. So, you know, if you're interested in serving, reach out to your district representative and let them know so they can make that consideration and consider you for this commission. A3 was a review of FBTX Connect. If you don't have our new app, you should download it. It's been a great way that people have been able to connect with our city and solve some of their problems, especially as it relates to code, whether that's Parks and Rec, whether that's public utilities. You know, what we've seen is people are on average getting a 1-day turnaround response time from our staff. And typically less than 3 days in terms of closing out these issues. And it's explained in the emails when they close out an issue, that they've either went to visit said issue, it's either an open case, it's something they're working on, or it's already been closed. An email is sent back to people that submit these, I guess I would say, opportunities for improvement in our community as to what is going on. So, we feel that it's been a great program. It's definitely still in its infancy. The more people that we can get to join it, the better that we can connect with staff and improve our city as a whole. So download it. You can get it on the Android store. You can get it at the Apple store. And hopefully everyone can start using that. A4 was a review of the tween recreational program offerings. What kind of came from that was that we are going to work with our schools, talk to the kids directly, try to find out more information about what kind of programs they're looking for, where those opportunities should be, and how we can best serve them, because we do feel that's an underutilized and often forgotten group in our community, and we don't want to make sure that they're missed, especially as we consider mental health issues and opportunities for kids to connect, especially in response to COVID. This is something that we're looking to offer. Our staff does an amazing job in the Parks and Rec Department in terms of providing programming opportunities, but this is a way that we can enhance that and hopefully solve some more problems and give people more outlets as it relates to the tweens in the community of Farmers Branch. A5 is discussed the strategic planning session, and that meeting is going to happen on Wednesday, January 26th. That will be at Fire Station number 2. Our new fire station over there in District 4 on our east side. We did have some conversation about what we wanted to address that day, and given some of the items that council members have mentioned over the years, and most notably in the past few months, we felt that we have so much to talk about, we're going to add a second meeting. So tentatively on Saturday, the 22nd of January, we're going to have a joint meeting with Planning and Zoning to talk about the overall comprehensive plan for the city, complete streets, walkability, new urbanism, several things as it relates to the global plan of Farmers Branch. And then we'll be able to take that feedback, that conversation into our strategic planning session to have a much broader conversation about how we want to move forward as we plan for the 2022-23 year. So, be on the lookout for that. The meeting on the 26th will be televised. Don't know about the one on the 22nd right now, but they are both open to the public as both the full city council and the P&Z commission will hopefully be in attendance for that. And in terms of A6, future agenda items, we had several that were brought up as we wanted to talk through the strategic plan in terms of on-street parking, special districts for parking, smart cities, and what else can we do, kind of broader parking. But Councilmember Lynn also notably brought up a naming contest for the new park, which is tentatively named Hoya Park, and then wanted to bring up a discussion of an ordinance for boats, campers, and RVs, and then we will have, in terms of streets and complete streets, future conversation on the crosswalks that are by the Firehouse Theater, Josie Lane and Rawhide, and Rosser and Valley View as it relates to, they are currently just yellow blinking lights, but could we do something that is a little bit more safer for our community as they look to cross those busy intersections in terms of getting to trails and fully connecting our community. So, as always, you can go back and watch the full video online. There's a lot more in-depth discussion there and a better opportunity to see the full conversation from council and all the ideas that came out of that. But with that, I will move on to item G, which is the mayor and city manager's report on items of community interest. Mr. Land.
Thank you, Mayor. Well, it is truly the holiday season in Farmers Branch. Come meet Cowboy Claus at the Mansky Library on Wednesday, December 8th from 6 to 9 p.m. In addition, Mayor Robert Dye and Mayor Pro Tem Cristal Rotana will read "'Twas the Night Before Christmas." Kids can get their picture taken with Santa, writing letters, enjoy cookies, and make special Christmas crafts. All ages are welcome. You can call 972-247-2511 for more details. Kids of all ages can also enjoy a pancake bar, create holiday crafts, and visit Santa at the annual Pancakes and Pajamas Breakfast. It will be Saturday, December 11th from 9 to 11 at the Farmers Branch Community Recreation Center. Remember to wear your PJs. You can register online at discoverfarmersbranch.com. Our Aquatic Center has partnered with the North Pole Elves to accept mail for Santa. Have your kids write letters to Santa Claus and they'll get a letter back from him in return. They can be dropped off until December 11th at the Margaret Young Natatorium. Strap on your skates for another season of skating under the stars as Farmers Branch's annual outdoor ice skating rink has returned to the Children's Health Star Center through January 9th. Registration is required and you can go to christmasinthebranch.com. Santa and friends are loading up in a fire truck and coming to your neighborhood on Saturday, December 18th between 1 and 4. Grab the kids and neighbors and come outside to welcome Santa to town. To know where Santa will go, visit christmasinthebranch.com. You can download FBTX Connect, the new Farmers Branch app. It's quick and easy, and the new app allows residents a direct mobile way to communicate with City Hall. Visit fbtxconnect.com. One other announcement, there will be a presentation on human trafficking on Thursday, December 9th from 6 to 7 at the Farmers Branch Community Recreation Center. It's free and open to the public. And you can sign up for e-news at farmersbranchtx.gov to have current city news and information delivered weekly to your email inbox. And Mayor, with that is items of community interest.
Awesome. Thank you. I do want to give an additional shout out to our staff, especially as it relates to the Parks and Rec Department, and our first responders who were on hand this past weekend at the Christmas tree lighting. It was a wonderful event. It was very well attended. I heard over 2,000 people showed up. Almost 6,000. I underestimated the number. It was 2,000 while I was there. So I guess people decided to show up after I left. The event was definitely an opportunity for our community once again to exhibit what's going on in our community, but the way that our staff is taking the call from staff and our city council, or the way staff has taken the call from our city council to find new opportunities and ways to enhance our holiday festivities. They definitely answered the call this time, having rides out there, definitely having the fireworks. It's something we've talked about needing to have, and the way that we reorganized the Christmas tree lighting, I think it was just a wonderful effort from our staff. So grateful for the number of community members that came out to be a part of that. And I know that we've had some conversations about what else can we do in the future, and I know those conversations are definitely probably going to happen in the early part of the year as we start planning for 2022 and what that holiday season could bring, especially as and what it means to the city of Farmers Branch. So I think we're slowly getting back to more and more and having more opportunities, which is what we started with, which was the framework of the original idea. As we moved away from the tour lights, said we were going to add some components and get back to what the tour lights originally felt like. And I think that we have some opportunities ahead of us to address that, see that through, and truly make the holidays in Farmers Branch something special that not only our residents can be proud of, but that people visiting Farmers Branch can be proud of as well. And an additional shout out to Valerie Hawkins, all the work that she has done recently, not only for our boards and commissions dinner as we planned that evening. I know Amy was a big part of that as well, but with tonight's dinner and everything, making everything just so festive up here for the holidays, we're just grateful for her effort. Just want to say thanks to Valerie. So if you see her in the city manager's office, just give her a little thanks for all that she does for us. Next is citizen comments. We have one person signed up to speak. That is James Lockridge. There's a 3-minute time limit. Anyone wishing to speak should be courteous and cordial. No disparaging remarks directed at any city council members or staff will be allowed. So, Mr. Lockridge, if you want to make your way.
James Lockridge, 2053 Willowwood Drive, Grapevine, Texas. Guys, the last city council meeting, we received letters for hay bale storage on the parking lot, or on the fields, excuse me. We've now received citations to landowners for the hay bales. I have reached out to Leo numerous times to talk about the situation and the fact that I have been in the hospital for 3 weeks. He has refused to return the phone calls to us as of today. He also sent the tickets to the landowners, and the owners do not own the hay bales. I do. So the tickets should go to me immediately. I have also asked for Charles Cox to call me numerous times on a comment that he had made at City Council, where he said he talked to the Ag Commissioner, Sid Miller's office, and the appraisal district. That phone calls never did happen at all. I have been in touch with both offices, and they have contacted everybody in their office. So I've been trying to get a return phone call for a while. He will not do it. I've reached out up till I went to the hospital to get an extension to move hay bales, and have not been able to get those hay bales moved yet. So I want to have a meeting with the City of Farmers Branch City Council. There's a lot of issues. The neighbor next door to me has concrete rebar pallets. He's illegally stored over 50,000 yards of dirt without a permit from the City of Farmers Branch. I'm not going to go away. As you can tell, I'm not even supposed to be here tonight, but I am not going away. So if you want to resolve it, we need to start communicating a little better today going forward, if possible. Thank y'all.
Thank you, Mr. Lockridge. I'll ensure that someone gets back to you, and then I'll reach out to you to set up a meeting. Next is the consent agenda. I will make a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented, as well as adding items J3 and J4 to the consent agenda. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second by Councilmember Ratana. Is there any more discussion? All right. I will ask everyone to mark their vote now.
Did you add J3 and J4 to the consent?
I did. I set that out loud. All right. Motion passes unanimously. Next is our regular agenda items. Receive a biannual update from the Historical Preservation and Restoration Board. Just democracy in action, you know?
And I have my inhaler in case I fall over
Yeah.
onto there. Johannes Hilkema, 2581 Brandywine Drive, Chair of the Historical Preservation and Restoration Board. And this is
Hi, Melissa Dewars, 14223 Coral Harbor Circle.
Today is December 7th, and it's about history, isn't it? I was prepared to sing 13 Days of Glory, the Ballad of the Alamo, but I couldn't follow that other part. Which is an interesting song, by the way. Upon the advice of my best friend and coach, Mrs. Hilkema, she said, just read the script and move ahead. But you know, I can't exactly do that. As a teacher who misses the classroom, I have you. So we at the Historical Preservation and Restoration Board love what we do. We love history, and we love what the park does. We love that it brings people together. We love that it teaches things. It's a teacher. It's not just a bunch of old buildings. It teaches things. And just before I get to the script, me and Melissa are going to get the script. You know that I was a resident. I'm from the Netherlands and then moved to Canada and then became an American in 1974. And when I did that, I had to take a test. Every resident alien who wants to become a citizen of the United States has to take a history and civics test. Now, and it's a pretty good test, and it's not complicated, but did you know that only 4 out of 10 Americans who are native born can actually pass that test? 4 out of 10. I mean, that's sad. And so that's why this park is so important, because it teaches history, it gives us a sense of where we've come from. So our mission is to collect and preserve and interpret and celebrate the history of the United States and Texas, with an emphasis on Peter's Colony and Farmers Branch. To provide visitors high-quality programs, exhibits, and events through living history, experiences, and mission-based education, with the goal of becoming a fully accredited museum that offers programming which will link our past to our future. You know, the Historical Board meets once a month. We meet the 4th Thursday, and you're all obviously invited to come. The 4th Thursday of every month, we welcome any and all to our meetings. What's great about this particular board, and I'm going to just ad-lib and then we'll move to the script, okay, is that this particular board, we got an active bunch of people. We have an active bunch of people. And we have a young man by the name of Christian who can't even drink yet, okay? He had to have a Coke at the party, all right? But there he is. And we have an active bunch of folks who have as their mission to support the park. We don't want to be in conflict with anybody. We don't want to go against the grain. We just want to see the park succeed. And Farmers Branch, that park be a destination for people. I'm going to say one more word and then you can go.
Okay.
For the last few weeks, I've been privileged to be a docent. Y'all know what a docent is? I didn't know that for a long time what a docent was. But you know, it's a guide. And we have the folks at the Historical Park, Hillary and the staff, they bring in kids from all over Farmers Branch and outside of Farmers Branch. 2nd graders and 3rd graders and 5th graders and 7th graders. And I've had the opportunity to step into that classroom, the old schoolhouse, and bring those kids into 1900. And when you see those kids open up, they ask questions, they're interested, they're curious. And that's what this park is all about. So, again, 100% of our board members have participated in all of our activities, and we're just excited about being here.
The board decided they wanted to have an informational booth at the 75th celebration held in conjunction with the Independence Day celebration to let the community know about the park, what was going on and how they get involved. As you see when you walk into the building, that's what we have put together. We've managed the Friends of the Historical Park with a rental booth and raised $3,000 for the Friends group. You may ask, how does that come back to the park? Well, the Friends group just awarded the historical park $17,000 to enhance our community programming and special events, $3,600 for collections and cleaning our historic structures, and since the philosophy in the Parks and Rec Department is to never turn away anyone that do not have the lack the resources, for the Friends to award $500 to sponsor 4 summer camp youth program scholarships for girls, make history camp and hands-on history such as Dirty Jobs Camp. It is very important to the board and staff that we are inclusive to all within our community, and that we also give back and get them the opportunities to enjoy the park. Along those lines, one of our newest board members, Omar Roman, has really stepped up and led the way to engage in the community by raising over $4,200 in event sponsorships and in-kind food donations for the Day of the Dead celebration. Omar has done much in supporting the historical park in such a short period of time he's been on the board. He was recognized by Mayor Dye for the Excellence Leadership Award, and right here, Johanna's received it last year. So we have very strong leadership on our board. Our goal, okay, let me go ahead, or you go ahead?
Yeah, go ahead.
You sure? Goal, increase activation in the park. One of our goals is to make more people aware of historical park and everything it has to offer. The staff has worked very hard with our unique programs to visitors who may not have visited the park otherwise, like youth summer camps, Day of the Dead celebration. We did a cheese security board class and a classic car show. They focus their efforts on making the wedding and rental opportunities, which have gone through the roof with a 137% increase in rentals over 2019. By offering private Girl Scout badge workshops, the Cub Scouts camp out, we have seen families from Tyler, Rockwall, and Waxahachie visit us for the first time and return to participate in more programs that we offer. Their efforts have resulted in more programs being offered and an increase in visitation to the park. An overall revenue increase 30% over 2019. We went from 67,800 versus 87,145. The Kenan Cemetery Subcommittee has made great progress this year. As you remember, the subcommittee was formed last year to create and implement a plan to retain the historical integrity of the cemetery while navigating the needs for a perpetual care fund. But it goes beyond that. As Councilman Driscoll commented, our last update to council in April, he said, history for all of us is very important, to remember our roots and where we all come from. I think we all agree, or in agreement, whatever we are in our city and elected officials and appointed to the board or committee, our job is to serve the community of Farmers Branch, which includes both the living and the deceased. Goals were set to document the undocumented by identifying unmarked and unknown graves and repair what was damaged while staying true to the historical integrity of the cemetery. And we are very proud to say we are accomplishing these goals. When the ground-penetrated radar was done before the subcommittee was formed, 114 unmarked graves were discovered. We wanted those graves to be identified, so name unknown headstones were purchased and will be installed throughout the upcoming year as time allows. As more research is done, and if we identify the specific individual, the headstone will be changed. In order for repairs to be done on damaged headstones, first, a monument assessment needed to take place to inspect all monument headstones and to provide a preservation conservation plan for each, as well as an estimated cost for completing the work. I know what you're thinking. This is going to cost the city money, but everything we're doing, we're looking for grant solutions. Staff worked extremely hard to write an application for the National Endowment, where the Humanities Preservation Assistance grant, their efforts paid off, and we were awarded $7,500 grant. I can't stress to you enough how difficult it is to receive an NEH grant, but this grant examples of success and now it has opened the door for other NEH funding opportunities. Once you get one, it's much easier to receive others. The preliminary work for the monument asset has begun, and once we have the priority list of what we need to do to be addressed first, the estimated cost, we can go further for more grant funding.
Brand new, you have to excuse me, I'm in the middle of an asthma attack. I don't want you to be concerned about it at all, but I will be fine. I have an ambulance waiting.
We're also 6 feet away, so we feel okay.
I know.
So this is not COVID, this is asthma, so it's not contagious. Our future, again, going back to activating the park. We want to make more people aware of our amenities and offerings that are either low cost or free. So staff is introducing new classes and events, from the DIY furniture making classes, cookie decorating, how do you pronounce that?
Charcuterie.
Charcuterie, who knows what that is? Charcuterie board class to a HP hosted bridal show and open house. And one I'm really looking forward to, and this is going to be fun, folks, is the nighttime adult Easter egg hunt. You get to run around the dark park
With a flashlight.
with a flashlight, looking for eggs, and inside those eggs are prizes. Are real, it's not just, a chocolate bar. It's going to be a real life.
So if you have any connections with anybody that'd like to donate something for our Easter egg hunt, please contact us.
We need to know.
And will you serve real eggnog, even though it's past season?
Mr. Mayor, if that's
Whatever
what
you want, we'll get.
if that's what you'd like to have, that'd be fine. By the way, I thank you for your encouragement this afternoon, because I saw you in your jacket. And I thought, I'm going to go home and change. I was concerned that we weren't going to get to do that, because you could go on and on. But
I got the email.
I can appreciate the pattern, yeah.
so, I bought this shirt for the thank you banquet. Remember that?
Mm-hmm.
And as much as that shirt cost me, I had to find times to wear it. So I chose to wear it this evening. Thank you, Mr.
Never miss an opportunity to put a bolo tie on either.
No, exactly. So I think that's it. Do you have any questions?
No, but I do want to thank you both for your efforts and your leadership. Christian, I guess at such a young age. Thanks for jumping in, and then past leadership, Ms. Chrisman. Thank you for being here also. You guys do tremendous work, the leadership and direction. Oh, sorry. Hillary.
Michael?
Obviously. Michael from the back, as always.
We got our past chair over there.
Yep.
And there's Mrs. Hookham. Okay.
Yeah. No, I do want to thank y'all. What y'all are doing and the energy you've pumped into the park has been great, and we're excited for the future of it and what's to come. And just want to say keep up the good work. Is there anyone that has anything else to add at this time?
Don't be concerned about me.
I just wanted to thank you, Johannes, not only because you're part of the best district in the city, but but you see
David, come on.
everywhere, and so I just want to thank you for all you do for the park. You are so passionate about it, and I think the work that has happened over the last few years is not without your effort to also recruit some other amazing people and our future leaders like Christian that are going to be taking on the helm and hopefully one day chair one of our boards. But for us that grew up here, and I'm sure Robert can attest to this, we remember walking to the cemetery, having that be part of our curriculum in elementary school at Montgomery, and to the fact that we're still doing that today is so amazing, so our future generations don't forget kind of where we've come from. Because I don't think people realize that the history with us being a Peters colony. And so again, just want to thank you all and the board and Hillary and staff for all that you do. I'm really excited about the future and the innovative projects that are happening. I'm excited about the egg hunt, but most of all, I'm just really grateful to have people that are so passionate about this particular park and what it can become. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Next is J2, receive a fourth quarter fiscal year 21 financial report. Mrs. Evans-Jones. No, I want to read this.
Hello,
Hello.
I'm Sherelle Evans-Jones, Director of Finance. Pleased to be with you tonight.
We're here with you,
So, we're going to do a financial report. I was a little bit looking for Reese to see if she could sing me in for this financial report, but for future reference, we do need some sort of Reese accompaniment for these numbers. So, here's what I have. I have 9 slides, 1 J-Lo and 1 show and tell. We're going to see if we can run through this because we're in a format where we're in a groove where you've seen a good bit of this information before and the way it's laid out, and then we'll spend some time on some things that we have going forward. So I like to start with what I call the disclaimer, especially when I'm presenting fourth quarter information, because they're probably on the other side of this wall in the finance area working now. Our auditors are going through the September 30, 2021 information. What you are seeing is unaudited. It doesn't reflect any adjustments, audit adjustments or any of those sorts of things. And it doesn't reflect a good bit of what I refer to as topside entries that are required in order for the financial statements to be properly stated, governmental accounting financial statements. So the results that you see here will differ from the audited financial statements when they are brought forward, which we expect that to be in early 2022 when we get it concluded and put in its format. So with all of those disclaimers, let's touch base on a couple of things here in terms of general fund, our largest fund. Myself, when I look at a financial statement, I don't like when they show me like the revenue on one page and the expense on, I like to see the whole story first, and then I can figure out what I think about things as I dig into it. So the whole story of the general fund is we're doing pretty good on the general fund. Revenues overall are higher than expectations. Expenses are less than expectations. So, that if you got a P&L combination, that's the one you want. Let's spend just a hair of time talking about some of the revenue items that I think that may be of interest. Property tax is about $3.4 million higher than prior year. So 33.9 compared to 30.4, so about 3.4 million higher, and that merely reflects a change in the valuation because, as you recall, the tax rate remained the same for this. Well, we reduced it a hair, but materially the tax rate remained the same. And you can actually see our actual revenue is a little bit higher than the amended budget, and that is because included in that actual revenue is past year's collections and things like that that also get captured in that number. So positive report on the sales tax. Positive report on the property tax moving into sales tax, which also is another great story, $13.7 million compared to a $17.6 million expectation. Things are just picking back up in a really positive way post-COVID, and we are really excited about that and what we see there. I am going to drop down and spend a little bit of time talking about licenses and permits. That one just a little bit higher than expectations and definitely a lot bit higher than last year's performance. So as we continue to see things build out in our area, that number continues to remain strong, but that is one that we've always talked about and cautioned that we, in coming years may expect to see some softening in that number. Now, charges for services is a number that I'm kind of, proud to tell you the story behind. That's the neat part about accounting is like, it's bean counting and stuff like that, but it's always a story behind stuff that, is interesting. So, 8.4 million compared to 7 million last year compared to a $7 million plan, right? So it's some good things happening in this number, and let me tell you about them. That is the overall area where we capture our 911 as charges for services, so 911 and ambulance services. So I have to give a huge shout out to our controller, Pamela DeHaan, and Deputy Chief Daniel Latimer, who was here. He's not here. He'll see his shout out on video playback. But those two in particular on our team worked really hard to work with a third-party company, and this additional about $1 million, a little bit more than $1 million of revenue came in as a result of our work in submitting things to the state for reimbursement from when we, take care of individuals that need help and they're unable to pay that full freight for that care. We applied to a state program. It allowed us to get a little bit more than $1 million. Now, some of the things that we should know about this, don't look for it every year, okay? It's one of those things where have a little bit, maybe possibly about 2 years of revenue baked into this. So that's one thing to bear in mind. Two is, the reason the number is also a lot bit higher is because it represents a change in the methodology that the state went through in order to award that revenue. And because of that change in the methodology, a good number of cities were like, I'm not going to bother with it, which increased the pool. And we said, thanks, we'll take that. So I just really appreciate the work, especially on the part of Pamela DeHaan and Deputy Chief Latimer, because it did result in a good amount of revenue that we should be proud of. And lastly, let me see any other revenue that I wanted to talk about. Charges for services also includes refuse services, so our trash collection and the royalty revenue that's baked into that number, and that was up about 260,000. So the million plus the 260 kind of gives you that pop that you see in the charges for services line. In the other slide, I have another slide prepared that will spend a little bit more time talking about some of the expenditures, but the main idea is that we had an amended budget that had a plan of a net loss of $2.1 million, and you can kind of see the results from general fund on net income. So we're good with that. With that, I'm going to move forward. You've seen this before in your slide deck, pictorial representation of what some of the information you just saw. This is a slide that I just referenced, and one of the main things, this is the expenditure, so from the summarized version of what you saw on the previous slide. So the main thing that I wanted to kind of point you to is this general government line item where you see a $1.2 million difference between the adjusted budget and the actual expenditure, the actual spending. So what happens at the end of the year, in addition to, budget retreats and all of that, we go through a process, and you see that during one of those final meetings where the budget is approved, where we come forward and we tell you, okay, this is where we think current year that we're living in is going to be, and this is where we think future year that we're going to is going to be in terms of budget. What we did, just more for housekeeping purposes as well, is it was a good number of departments that during that time frame when we were gathering, okay, what's your department going to spend? What's your spending? We basically swept a good bit of that, those funds, the budgets of those funds to this area that you see captured with general government. So that's why you see that budgeted number so much higher than maybe what we originally planned in the adopted budget. Basically, once we got word back from each one of those departments as to what they were going to need, we were like, whoops, you don't need that, we'll put that over here. So that's the rationale for why you see some differences, especially that large difference there. Some of the other areas, I went and looked into the details of some of these other areas to see if I could pinpoint any large thing that was intended to be done that wasn't, or any sort of specific area where we had to defer doing something, and that is the reason why we're seeing less spending than the budget. I don't see anything in the details that rise to the level of, let's bring this forward and make sure that you understand what happened with those numbers. So I just will call your attention to and kind of explain what that $1.2 million change is that you see on the budget to actual. And this also is kind of one of those things that show if we don't need to spend it, we won't spend it. So as we're going through that budget process and, you're considering expenditures, we try to be as fiscally conservative as we can in terms of the spending, and if we don't need to spend it, we won't. Pictures. I like pictures. Okay. This is expenditures were broken down by type. With the lion's share of our overall general fund expenditures, about 53% of that being in personnel services. It takes a lot of great people to make this city go round, and you can kind of see the breakdown of other areas in terms of how those expenditures break down when you slice them differently. I'm going to push into a couple of other funds that I typically report on for my quarterly reports. Expenditures, revenue and expenditure related to the enterprise fund. So when because I always drop to the end of the story and I try to see what's happening first, and then I form my opinion about what I see. That's how I am as a numbers person. And looking at this, I go, okay, what is going on here? Remember that stormwater utilities is the area where it included transfers to stormwater CIP. So a good bit of this money right here is transferring to stormwater CIP for the purpose of doing all of the plans that we talked about during the budgeting process. And you can kind of see how it's new in terms of its coming about during the 2021 year when you compare the spending of the prior year. So you can kind of see, refreshing your memory on that. So this was a planned activity to move that funding over to stormwater CIP, and it's funding that we're moving from a fund balance that has been saved up over a period of time. The only other thing that I wanted to point out here is we have not had an increase in our rates in the two periods that we have here under comparison. So the reason that you see an increase in the revenue related to water sewer sales has to do with consumption. And also the lion's share of bringing those services forward rest within the line item related to the water sewer operation. And that line item in its budget has, you got to plan for what ifs and all sorts of things. And so that line item had contingencies in it that we didn't need to spend, and plans for personnel that were hired later on in the year. So there were some savings on expenses there as well. Hotel motel. So, the information has been previously presented. I will give you a little bit of geography in terms of these two columns and how I look at them. Last year, September 30, 2020, is about half COVID because it started happening for us in this country in about May 2020. So you see that basically this net income was able to come down because we had a very, very strong first 6 months for this period that we have for ended 2020. 2021 is, depending on how you think of COVID, it's all COVID, or it's, I don't know, it's more significantly the result of decreased revenue due to COVID. We see some positive signs, as I talked about during our budgeting process, and some of the revenues, and in terms of our reduced the amended budget and the revenue plan, we have exceeded that. So that's a great thing. Overall, there's a couple of other things. I gathered some information for y'all because We do things on the break. So fund balance for Hotel Motel Fund, we're projecting that to be a little bit more than $1 million, 1.19 million for Hotel Motel Fund balance. Another thing to kind of give you scope of how we're progressing, how we're moving, et cetera, with this particular fund, pre-COVID revenue, the hotel motel tax, was about $1.1 million, you know, in its most recent years before we faced the pandemic. And I share some stats in terms of past years' net income and loss, because some years it's up, some years it's not. That's what I'm trying to help you to understand. In terms of its fund balance and its ability to take on new projects, et cetera, I mean, it's great that we are at about $1 million of fund balance with respect to this fund. I will say that prior to the pandemic, we were just about at this same point. The targeted balance, so the balance you want to be at for this fund, the stated targeted balance is about $300,000, but if we weren't sitting on about $1 million worth of fund balance, we would not have been able to sustain this, the decline in revenue, et cetera. So I would say that, we can give some thought to where we really need to have that fund balance to make sure that we are covering ongoing operations and et cetera. But these are some of the stats and details that I wanted to provide, and hopefully that answers some of your questions, Councilmember Ratana, or gives you some details that kind of help you to frame how you might think about the fund and its balances. Investment report. A significant value of our assets are included in this investment portfolio, and the strategy is that we analyze our cash flow to figure out what we need when are these significant CIP projects going to happen, and we try to ladder those investments to have maturities that come back when we need big chunks of cash. An overall to end the year, book value 87.0, market value just a hair shy of that, just about the same thing, unrealized net loss of $23,000, so that's on $83 million, that's kind of break even, to me. But portfolio doing well, we have a policy of holding all of those investments to maturity. So that was 7 slides. What questions can I help you with?
Well, first and foremost, just want to say thank you to you and your team, and for your leadership. I know you feel like you just got budget behind you and you could catch a breath, but then audit pops up and it's just kind of like you're right back into the middle of it.
Cycle.
Yeah, but no, I do want to thank you for all your efforts and what you prepare to make it easy for us to digest. So just extend that thank you to you and your team. But does anyone have any comments or questions at this time? Councilmember Merritt.
Just one, as the new guy on the council, you've already referenced that these will be audited and presented final sometime in early 2022, and I appreciate that. Will that be a part of your, the first quarter report? Will those be coupled together, or will we receive those separately?
I think we tend to do the audit, and then the first quarter may be a different agenda item on a different agenda.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Okay. And I appreciate all your work.
Thank you.
All right.
Okay.
Seeing none. Oh.
Wait a minute.
I do have one comment.
Okay.
I know Sherelle would not have worn those shoes if she thought all these people were going to get up and leave before her presence. So why don't you step out and show us your shoes? I know you're proud of them. Did you see those? Woo.
Okay. So we just had 7 slides. Now it's time for J-Lo. J-Lo has relevant, I know you're like, what are you doing, Sherelle? So this is one of my favorite songs when I'm on my bike riding. It gets me the best outputs. Let's Get Loud. It just puts me in a headspace to get some things done. But it's not Let's Get Loud. I want to talk just briefly with you about Let's Get Live. So Project Promise Phase 4. I want to make sure that the public is aware of a couple of things that are coming forward. We are converting our utility billing software to Tyler Munis. It is Phase 4 because we've done the financial system, HR, Intergov that governs a good bit of community services. This is Phase 4 with utility billing. We'll have even greater integration amongst all the other pieces that have been folded in. Set for go live February 1st. So we have just a few more weeks of work to get that done. Now, before I explain the next point about auto pay, let me see if I can provide a little bit of color behind why this is. So when you go through a system implementation, you have stuff that's in the old box, the old software, the old system, and you go through a process that takes a year. So far, you know, we're nearing the end of this, but you go through a process of copying the data out of the old system, putting it into the new system, running some processes to see if this thing and this thing are still doing the same thing. That didn't work, wait, let's tweak it, let's do it, and we do this for a year. At some point before you go live, you have to stop putting things in the old box in order for the new box to be ready to go. So what has to happen is auto payments have to stop going into the old box. They have to be disabled, and we will provide details for how all of the residents can come and sign up for their new ability in the new system to do auto payments. So December 21st, auto payments in the old system is over. To pay beyond that, but before we go live and you can set up your new thing, you can pay by phone, number is there, mail in a check, come and do it in person. I love to see people out there. It's pretty, you know, it's pretty cool to see the community. Or you can do like a one-time payment through your bank, because effectively when you tell your bank to do an auto pay, what they're doing is mailing us a check. It looks like you're clicking a button and sending it, but it's basically another method where the bank is mailing us a check. So any of those options are suitable for the period between when we stop that auto pay, but before we take it all the way live. And then we will be coming, because I have been working with my super friend over there pretty closely. We'll be coming with some detailed instructions as to what to click, what to do, how this is. We got it under control, but I just wanted you to be aware that we're about to get live. Excited about that. I want to say before I move from this, a huge thank you to our team that has been working so hard on this. So if you come, if you call, if you come in person, if you write a check, put a nice little note on that check, because it's some people that work in that finance team and that work in our IT area and work in public works that have been working so hard on this, and they just need a little bit of encouragement to get over the hump. That's enough about let's get live. Do you all have a little bit of time for a quick show and tell? Yeah? No? All right, well, this concludes my report.
Don't listen to him. No. We're counsel.
Okay.
Yes.
Don't listen to Pete. All right, show and tell time. All right, quick. Where's my glasses? So, I feel like people don't know about this, which is why I was like, maybe. All right, website. Okay, so I feel like people don't know about this, because sometimes I get questions and I'm like, I don't know, you know. All right, transparency is right there, one click, boom. This is going to take you to an area here where you can see all of budgets, a whole bunch of information. It takes you to a lot of financial transparency information, past audit reports, all sorts of things. But see this little link right here? Okay. Look, I see y'all leaned in. Y'all didn't know it was there. So this is, and this isn't new, this is our financial transparency page. It is another one of those neat features that comes about when you convert an old system to something new. This is integrated to our actual general ledger. It pulls data out of it about on a weekly basis and puts it in here in this format. You can research budgets, like down to a level of detail. All right, so what's going on in water sewer fund, within operations, how is this thing spent? It will take you down to all sorts of detailed levels that will give you ideas of spending. You also have the ability to research just like our checkbook overall, so you can get a scope of where we stand in terms of our capital outlay and overall spending, and just how each one of these things is searchable and is pulling directly from our general ledgers. So you can kind of see the largest vendors that we have in terms of some of our capital outlay projects. Some of those, I know exactly, which ones. Most of the stuff that Mark Bentley works on is super expensive and on this list at the top. But I just mentioned that, and I wanted to show that to you because I think members of the public and maybe yourself might not be aware that this tool is here for you to be able to access at any time. It pulls data real time. It has past years information as well. So this concludes my show and tell, my 9 slides, my 1 J-Lo. How may I help answer any questions for you?
Does anyone have any questions?
I have a question. Thanks very much for the presentation, Sherelle. I think it was on the first page, first slide you had, under
The title
you're
page?
discussing licenses and permits. You said something about they're 2 years baked in.
Oh, yes.
What you were referring to there?
I'm saying, let's go back. I'm saying that there's a number of reasons that, hold on, let's make sure we're talking about the right one. It wasn't licenses and permits, it was charges for services.
Okay, okay.
And the reason that that number on an actual basis is 8.4 million compared to our plan of 7 million is 2 things, one of which is that ambulance revenue, a little bit more than $1 million of that
Right.
is the ambulance. And there's a few factors in why it was so big. One is that we went after it when other cities didn't, so the pool was real big. 2 is that it includes a little bit of funding from past years because we included that in our request as well. And 3 is because the pool was bigger, or the complicated nature of what we had to go through to get it, it wasn't as many people applying, which allowed our award to be larger. So it's a number of factors that led to that larger revenue item.
Okay, thanks. And I think you said we got that million or million plus from the state?
Yeah.
So is that a pool that all municipalities pay into, like in bad years or something, or good years, or?
It is no, I don't think it's a pool that we pay into. That funding comes from HHS, I believe, that allows for indigent care. And so we were just blessed to be awarded a larger portion of the funding than what we anticipated in this particular year.
And that's something you specifically requested?
Yes.
Okay.
We filled out, we completed details to help the state to understand what level of care we have provided to individuals who weren't able to fully reimburse for the cost of that care.
And is that something that we can request funds from, in the future, or?
We will definitely request funds in the future. What I was alerting you all to is the fact that it may not be it may not be this large in future years.
Right. Okay, thanks.
Man, I got the 3rd degree over showing up with an extra $1 million of revenue.
I want to know where it came from. Maybe there's more.
No, I'm just teasing you. I'm just teasing.
That's what happens when you take bathroom breaks and miss crucial information. But, all right. Thank you.
Thanks, Sherelle.
Next is take any action as a result of the executive session. We don't have anyone signed up to speak to this item. With that, I move that the city manager be authorized to negotiate and execute on behalf of the city one or more agreements and any amendments thereto and any related instruments subject to substantially the following terms and conditions. A purchase and sale agreement for the sale of Tract A, generally described a portion of 2427 Carrick Street, 0.9 acre surplus property included in the 12700 North Stemmons, collectively referred to as Tract A, to the Farmers Branch Local Government Corporation for the resale of Tract A to ICFB Gateway Development LLC and/or its affiliated companies, the developer, for the development of a mixed-use property on Tract A consisting of 275 multifamily units of approximately 200,000 square feet of space and approximately 9,000 square feet of retail space for a purchase price of $2.75 million, with an economic development grant from the city in the amount of $2.75 million to be provided at closing of such transaction, provided the developer undergrounds all distribution utility poles, excluding transmission line, and the construction of certain infrastructure, the development, together with the restriction agreement requiring the development and option for repurchase of Tract A. One or more economic development agreements on behalf of the city with ICFB Gateway Development LLC and its affiliated companies for the Tract A development, which may include a tax abatement agreement pursuant to Tax Code Chapter 312, which provides 10 years of 75% abatement of the real property for the Tract A development, and agreement pursuant to Tax Code Chapter 311 to provide 12 years of annual grants equal to 25% of the real property taxes for the development with the combined incentives under the Tax Code Chapter 312 and Tax Code Chapter 311, agreements not to exceed $3 million, and an agreement for the reimbursement for the design and construction of certain public infrastructure for the development along the Dart Line, Denton Drive, western portion only between Moss and Pike Street, west of Denton Drive, not to exceed $865,000, to be funded from the Pike Street Bond Fund. An agreement on behalf of the city with ICFB Gateway Development LLC and/or its affiliated companies to cause the construction of the underground detention for the development of future gym project site for city-owned Star Center parking lot to be funded by the Pike Street Bond Fund not to exceed $600,000. Construction of the Tract A development to commence with approximately 5 months after site plan and development approvals and to be completed approximately 20 months after commencement of Tract A development. The developer will be required to underground of all distribution utility poles, including transmission line for the Tract A development, is consideration for all incentives to be provided by city without additional incentives. An agreement on behalf of the city to provide the developer a right of first refusal to purchase Tract B, generally consisting of 1.44 acres of property located on the southeast corner of Denton Drive and Valley View Lane for a period of 3 years following completion of the Tract A development at the fair market value of the Tract B property determined by an appraisal obtained by the city at the time of the developer exercising the right of first refusal. Do I have a second?
A second.
Second by Councilmember Williams. Is there any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Passes unanimously. With no other business to conduct, I will conclude tonight's meeting.
Repeat that motion?
Yep, 7:41.
You seconded it.
You printed it?
You have to repeat it.
Doesn't have to